Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sari and we are on day 7 of the Simplify Your Life Challenge for 2022. This challenge is inspired by an ebook by YouTuber muchelleb, which you can find linked down below. And there is a whole playlist where you can follow along with what this is, why we're doing it, and days 1 through 6 that I will link on the screen. So with that, let us get into day 7, Decluttering Your Kitchen. So the important thing, for those of you following along the ebook, is that I skipped some sections. Day 7 in the ebook is about decluttering your digital space, so your phone and your computer files. I am moving that to after all of the physical space decluttering. And we are skipping ahead. So in the ebook, day 9 is the kitchen declutter. But on my channel, day 7 is the kitchen declutter. So if you're following along, skip to day 9. We'll go back to the other ones later. Kitchen stuff, kitchen gadgets, kitchen things, they just accumulate, right? There's stuff, kitchen stuff. It's so easy to go, oh, that looks cool. This is handy. This seems great. I have always personally subscribed to the Alton Brown philosophy of don't own single-use kitchen gadgets. If it doesn't have more than one purpose, I don't really need it, and I feel like that's a pretty good way to be. Like, do you really need a special slicer to slice your avocado when you own a knife? Do you need a vegetable spiraler? Maybe. I guess if you make a lot of noodles, vegetable noodles, although we also just cut ours with the knife. It takes up a lot of space, and that's how we end up with chaos in our kitchen drawers. Let me tell you, friends. My kitchen is not so bad, although we do have a lot of stuff on the counter. We have more cabinets than a lot of people have, but we still don't have a lot of cabinets. We also don't have a lot of counter space. So keeping a whole bunch of stuff on the counter, 1, looks messy, and so our kitchen always looks messy, and 2, it just uses up counter space we don't need to use up. I also have the luxury of having a special shelf where all of my larger kitchen appliances stand. I put that up. It's just like 4 board. It's easy to assemble. I mean, you can build your own if you have the space, but I bought that one. It's like super easy to deal with. I also have in this particular house right here to my left a built-in set of drawers and cabinets. Because this room that I'm in right now is a dining room. This house was built in 1919 or something like that. This is a formal dining room, and so there's a bunch of areas to store your plates and dishware and all of that stuff right here in the dining room. And so I can have overflow kitchen. It's not the best because now we just have 2 rooms of kitchen stuff. So there's that. And there's 2 people, and we don't have a home set up where we entertain. Like, we're not using this room as a dining room with a big dining table where more than 4 people can sit down and eat. Rarely do we have more than 4 people eating in our house at once. And yet we have a full 8-place dish setting when we don't even have a table that will accommodate 8 people. We also have a set of flatware and a formal set of silverware that we got as a wedding gift and never use. And why are we not using that as our everyday flatware? Why do we have the good stuff that just sits in a drawer and no one uses it? We own, quite frankly, an absurd amount of glassware for 2 people. Your mileage may vary. Everybody's kitchen's different. Everybody's kitchen is set up different. But I want you to think about how you can best organize that space in a way that is efficient, that allows you to get to the things you need to get to while you are cooking, eating, using your kitchen otherwise, and that maximizes your storage space, allows you to keep pantry staples somewhere that is not just the floor or the counter or out somewhere. I want you to think about kitchen tables and keeping them clear. We never even eat at our kitchen table because my kitchen is really cold in the winter and usually really hot in the summer. So it's very rare that we eat at our kitchen table, and therefore it becomes the accumulation space for stuff. And I don't like that. I don't like walking in there and being like, well, I realize we never use this table, but it's now just become the place we dump a bunch of stuff when we come in the door, and it looks terrible in here. Every time I have to do a video that involves my kitchen, I'm like, sorry about my kitchen. And I don't want to feel that way, and I don't think you want to feel that way either. But it is important to streamline your kitchen as best you can so that it helps you be efficient in your making of food, and you can just reach in a drawer and grab what you need. Oh, this is over here. You know where everything is. It's not all out on the counter. It doesn't look messy. It inspires you to be in there cooking, making things, eating, all of that. You know, some people use their kitchens differently, but if you're the sort of person that is cooking and prepping food and eating food as often as I am, which, to be fair, is most of the time, make your kitchen a space that makes you feel happy and like you are productive in getting what you need done. Okay? So let's work on that today. Here are my guiding questions. As always, yours may vary. Do we really need this many blank? Whatever it is, do you need that many of them? For me, this will apply to things like plates, bowls, glasses of multiple sizes, coffee mugs, all glassware, any drinking vessel. No, we don't. My thought is, really, we don't need more than 4 of anything. There are 2 of us, so let's have 2, and then let's have an extra set in case somebody comes over, we break stuff, or, you know, sometimes you need to serve things in 2 bowls. And it's difficult when you only have 1 bowl per person. So I like to have 1 set for everybody and then a spare set for everybody, because only 4 people can eat at my kitchen table anyway. That's going to be my guidance when I am going through my dishware. You can do the same thing about like measuring cups and spoons and all of the assorted tea strainers, right? We have so many tea strainers for loose leaf tea. Truly, I think we have at least 6, which is unnecessary. Do you need 2 rolling pins? Maybe you do. Maybe you're the sort of person that is baking all the time and needs 2 rolling pins. Do you need 2 sets of every cooking utensil? Perhaps. I don't know. I certainly don't. Ask yourself that question. Is this something we only use on special occasions? See also me and my silverware. I have a whole set of silverware in a really nice box that my mother gave me as a wedding gift, and I never use it. And I don't think that's honoring that gift. I don't think that's doing her a service of how much money I know she spent on that. Why am I using flatware from Target every day and then only pulling that out on the rare occasion someone's actually eating in my house? Again, if you are the sort of person who hosts dinner parties frequently, you may find yourself wanting everyday flatware and a special set of silverware for company. That's cool. You have to decide how you live your life. Similarly, things like holiday-themed dishware or napkins or placemats or any of that stuff, do you need to keep it if you only use it once a year? If the only time you ever entertain is that one holiday, maybe, but also maybe you can just use the regular stuff you have. Important questions. I'm not telling you the answers to them. These are just questions I'm asking myself. In the same vein, do we use this regularly? If no, do you really need to keep it? If you're not using a thing and you don't see a need, or you maybe only use it once or twice, that's where you start thinking, maybe there's something else that I can get to do the job for this. Maybe something else that I do use regularly would serve this purpose. Just ask yourself that. Do we have more than one of these? This goes to gadgets and the random miscellaneous stuff. It's similar to my first question of, do we really need this many? Do we have more than one, and do we need more than one? When was the last time we used this? If it's been more than a year, if it's been more than 2 years, if it's been more than 5 years, if somebody bought it for you and you put it in a drawer and you've literally never used it, probably get rid of that. There are people who need that stuff that will use it regularly, and they would love to have it. It's not doing anybody any good sitting in your drawer not getting used. Is this a single-use item? This is where the single-use things come in. Do you really need something to slice every individual fruit or vegetable you own when you could also just use a knife? If this does one thing, is there something else that can do the job of that thing? Maybe I just need the other thing that's more versatile. For the most part, you can use a knife to do a lot of things that all of these save yourself time kitchen gadgets will do. Not always. There are some things that you're like, you know what? This does one thing and I need it to do that one thing. Okay, cool. For food items, important questions to ask yourself. Is this out of date? Because if it is, throw it out. Am I actually going to eat this? If no, why do you have it? Throw it away. And be more mindful about your food purchases. I really recommend trying to go to the grocery store once a week, making a meal plan. Don't just buy a bunch of stuff and then say, oh, this sounds good. Maybe I will eat it at some point. You won't, probably. I mean, there's something to be said for like having extra pantry staples, whatever. I mean, in moderation, nobody needs like this 12-pound bag of flour unless you're actually baking regularly. But if you're not going to eat whatever it is before it expires, don't keep it. So we make a plan and go to the grocery store once a week. I realize that doesn't work for everybody, but if you have those food delivery services, the food delivery boxes, at least try to make a plan before you just order a bunch of stuff that doesn't go together, because that is how you end up in a situation where you're just like, I have a whole bunch of expired out of date food that I have no intentions of eating, and I ended up throwing a bunch of things away. This is where the food waste problem comes in. It's not all of it, but it's part of the food waste problem that we have in especially the US, but other places in the developed world. We just buy a bunch of things because, oh, that might be useful, or, oh, that sounds like it might be good, or, oh, maybe I want to try that sometime. And we have no plan for them. Or, you know, it's like, oh, well, it was on sale, so I bought it. That is the worst offender. And we find ourselves going back to the same brands and the same foods over and over again. Let's be real. We get into routines. So just as you're throwing out a bunch of old expired food and stuff you bought that you don't actually want, make a note to be a little more mindful in your food purchasing in the future, so that you're buying ingredients that you're going to use before they go bad, so that you're not wasting money and resources and contributing to the wastefulness of our society and economy, and also greenhouse gas emissions. So those are my questions. The next step is take all of your kitchen items out of their normal space. Leave the food in the fridge until the end, okay? But clean out your fridge. Wipe your whole refrigerator out with cleaner. Same thing with your freezer. Wipe the whole thing out. Nobody likes cleaning the fridge. It's gross, okay? We all have like that gross expired moldy thing that we found in the back that we're like, I don't even know what this used to be. Everyone has that. And we all have like, this is sticky and whatever, and I don't know what this weird substance is in the back of the fridge. But trust me, it's not doing anybody any good if you leave it there. So take it all out at the end and clean it. Also take out crockery, cutlery, so forks, knives, spoons, bowls, plates, mugs, cups, glassware. Take it all out. Decide against your questions. Do you need to keep all of that? Can you get rid of it? Appliances, toaster, blender, special food makers that you probably use once or twice, rice cookers, food processors, mixers, all of it. Just get it out. Also with chemicals and cleaning products, and just making sure like it's not old and gross, and replace your dish scrubbers. Okay, replace your dish cleaners, replace your counter sponges, replace all of that. Replace it once a month. It grows bacteria. They're disgusting. Please don't clean your dishes with the same thing you clean your counters with. That's gross. And please throw those out. You can actually get biodegradable sponges for that stuff at a lot of places. You can buy them at Target. I get mine at our food co-op, but you can buy biodegradable ones that are made out of mostly coconut fiber that you can chuck, and they won't just sit there and not degrade for the rest of their lives. But don't use paper towel if you can avoid it. I mean, for like quick spills, yeah, but like cleaning your whole kitchen with paper towel is inefficient and a waste of paper and fills up landfills and makes greenhouse gases. Don't do it. Get some sponges, replace them, rotate them out. Change your kitchen towels once a week. Stuff gets gross in there. I worked in a microbiology lab for 2.5 years. Bacteria, not funny. Clean your kitchens. Clean the stuff that's cleaning your kitchens. It's my little aside lecture for you today. Consider your guiding questions as you go through all of this stuff. Be ruthless. Get rid of it. Knives can do most things. I'm really bad with knives and I'm figuring it out, but you can do it. I promise. You can. Only keep the kitchen items that you use on a consistent basis that add value to your life. That's all you need. If you have fancy stuff, like fancy china, fancy silverware, fancy whatever, use it. Don't save it for special occasions. Man, if that's your good stuff, why, you deserve to eat off your nice things. Eat off your nice things. Like, the items that you love should be the things you're using every day. This might be different if you have kids who break stuff. I don't know. I don't have kids, so probably change that around a little bit if you're like, my children will just break this, okay? They probably don't need to use the nice stuff that you love. If you're going to be upset when they break it, that's a different story. Okay, then store everything you're keeping. It's really important to store things efficiently in a way that makes sense to you, in a way you're going to use them. So don't make your organization systems unnecessarily complicated. The more complicated they are, the less likely that you are going to stick with them. You're not going to do it because it's fussy and weird and you don't know where it is and doesn't make sense to you. Make sure it's something that makes sense. And this is really important for people who live together with other people. Make sure that it makes sense to them as well. Like, make sure everyone's in on it. We're all in agreement on how this stuff is stored in the kitchen, because if one person's like, this is stupid and I don't know where anything is, they're just going to get frustrated and put things back in weird spots, and it's all going to get disorganized again. Make use of plastic storage containers or other glass storage containers or other storage containers. You can get really nice ones that all match and look aesthetically pleasing and make you happy when you open your cupboard. And all your spice jars are lined up and they look good and they match and they make you happy. You can do that, or you can just do what I did and shove all of them in there and they don't match and I hate them. But again, that's a later problem. That's a nice to have. I will get there. But for now, at least they're all in the same place. The more that your food in the fridge and your cupboards are easy to see and easy to access, the more likely you are to eat it. You're not going to forget it's there. We made a nice list of everything that's in the refrigerator and in the upstairs freezer and in the downstairs freezer so that we can look and see. It's on a whiteboard and it says, here's what's in your stuff, so that we know when we're cooking, hey, here's the ingredients we have. It's really handy, and I recommend doing something like that if you are the sort of person who puts things in crisper drawers and then forgets they exist. Keep your counters as clear as practically possible. Organize things by how frequently you use them or the area of the kitchen where you need them. I mean, don't keep your mixing spoons and your cooking utensils on the opposite side of the kitchen from your stove. Just, that doesn't make any sense. Nobody wants to walk all the way across the room to get that. Keep your spices in a place that's practical. Make sure stuff is easy to grab when you need to grab it, because that is the only way that you are going to stick with that system. So, Jonas is helping me on this one. We are going to go through our kitchen. We're going to get rid of half of our dishware, and I will see you at the end for a little wrap up. We are kitchen decluttering. So, full disclosure, we've already done a lot of this. Jonas and I, kind of mostly Jonas, went through the stuff on this shelf where we store our appliances, because we don't, I mean, it looks like we have a lot of storage in this kitchen, but truly we don't have like appliance sized storage, and got rid of all the stuff we don't actually use. Debatable on that tiny food processor. What's left is basically rice cooker, slow cooker, toaster. That's an air fryer, which we just got. And then actual sized food processor, French press, soda stream for making, charged water, and then this blender, which we use on the regular. What we are mostly going to be looking at today is like this cabinet. Do two people need this many plates? No, not even at all. We have what I like to call the cupboard of random shit. Mixing bowls and even more coffee mugs. There's stuff down in most of these, so we have some work to do. We now have this side of the cabinet looks like this. We have 4 of all of the dish settings, including these cups. We have 6 coffee mugs because we drink coffee and tea kind of a lot. We kept 2 pint glasses because, you know, sometimes you need that. And then there's like travel mugs, all of those measuring cups. We legitimately need that many measuring cups. Serving bowls, the colander. Down here are baking things, like the baking sheets and the pizza pans and the other pans. This is the cast iron stuff and the pie pan. And then there's like the baking dishes. Then over here is all the stuff we're getting rid of. Look at this. 2 people own this many cups. It's absurd. Truly. So we did pretty well with this. This actually feels satisfying in a way that the rest of the days have not felt satisfying. And then I have this, it needs to be cleaned, but this half of a cabinet, that stuff's going. I just need Jonas to reach up and get it down, and then I'll move that to a different spot where we're going to put our food storage, flour, and assorted miscellaneous pantry items, because right now it is all here in this broken cabinet that we broke the door off of a while ago, and somewhat up in there. I can't show you. Jonas is cleaning the area where the pots and pans go, so I will be in the way if I open that. We're gonna try to fit as much of it as possible over here, and that will be very nice. And then we can get rid of that broken cabinet. That's exciting. All right, I moved everything from this cabinet. We still need to deal with the tea, but we have to meet up with friends, so that's going to be a problem for later. I want to get all this stuff off the counter in here, but it doesn't fit except on the top, so the tea needs to move down, and then that needs to go on the top, and then every time I need cooking oil, Jonas will have to get it for me. So a lot of this was on the bottom. This is like baking stuff. And then this was our pantry, which is like pastas and some snack foods and bone broth and like canned goods. We don't really keep a lot of that stuff around because we go to the grocery every week. So usually we don't have excess, which is good. I like it that way. Yeah, we took a bunch of stuff out to get donated. This has to be in a different place to get donated. The place we were giving the other stuff to won't take it. It's also all breakables, and we have zero newspaper to wrap this up with. So currently my kitchen table, which is, you know, less kitchen table than place my random stuff goes, is full of even more random stuff than usual, which is going to bother me for a little bit. But hopefully we can address this problem soon. Floor's filthy because we just moved it, but random cabinet is gone. That feels good. This feels good. This feels like we actually accomplished something, and I feel like we've had an actual victory today versus the way I've been feeling through much of the rest of this, where I was like, well, I got rid of a bunch of stuff, but I don't feel any different. This feels good. I was like, that cabinet's gone. We only own this much food. Win. Jonas already cleaned out the refrigerator and freezer the other day, so that's already done. I didn't show that here because it's completed, but hopefully you have also done that and thrown out all of the gross old food and stuff that you are definitely not going to eat and forgot about in your freezer and refrigerator. All right, we are back. This is, for me, the first declutter that I feel truly good about. I feel like we have actively less stuff, and the space is organized, the space is put away, it's more open in there, it feels nicer. It makes me feel happier being in there. I don't immediately walk in the kitchen to get food or make food and then go, ugh, and then not want to cook in there. It's really great, and it's going to be so much easier to keep cleaned and organized. And that is what is important to me, because you don't have to move the 6,000 bottles of whatever that used to be on the counter in order to clean the counter. You can just clean the counter. We have a list of what's in the food drawers and the freezer, so we know when the kitchen table doesn't just have random stuff on it. We can use it as another work surface if we need to, because counter space is short, or we could eat there if it were not 10 degrees colder in the kitchen than the rest of the house. It just feels like a new space, and that is what I want out of this whole exercise, because I've been stuck in this house for 2 years and I'm tired of looking at it, but I can't do a lot with it because I don't own it, so I need to take control where I can take control, and that kitchen was one space where I could take control, and it feels good. How do you all feel? Did you get rid of stuff? I didn't mention, so now that your stuff is put away and everything else that you have dedicated to getting rid of, this is another place where please don't just throw it out unless it is legitimately broken. Kitchen appliances, if you didn't do them with electronics, should also go to the hazardous waste and properly be disposed of. Large appliances should get picked up by whatever your service is that does that. We here, and maybe you should look into this, have an organization called Bridging that will take things like dishware, like the plates and the bowls and the cups and all of that. They will take that for you as a donation and give it to a family in need. So what they're focusing on is helping out refugees or previously homeless families, or rehoming people who are in situations where they need new homes, and then giving them kitchen things and housewares and furniture and all that stuff so that they can get their new life started. They don't have that added expensive, well, congratulations, you have an apartment, but you still have to buy a bunch of stuff for it that you probably can't afford. They help them with that, and I feel really good about my things going to an organization like that. There's always the charity shop as an option to drop it off if you don't have some place like that, but I really recommend that you look into whether your area has an organization who does these things and will give your kitchen items and your furniture and all of the housewares that you don't want a good home. I recommend checking on that. And they don't take everything, so your mileage may vary on who takes what, but just look into that before you just junk everything. It's better that way. Tell me how you did. Leave me some comments. What do you think? Do you feel good about your new kitchen space the way I feel about my new kitchen space? I was just in there making bagels. I don't bake. I was literally creating bagels from scratch. They're gluten-free and vegan, and they're probably going to be terrible, but I don't care. I was in the kitchen using it to bake, which is not a thing that I do. So that's pretty good. I feel happier being in there, and I can find what I need easily, and we don't have 6 of the same kind of spoon. You're not grabbing for things while you're cooking and being like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. The oils are off the counter. The spices are organized and put away. It all just feels very good. And I'm loving it. Jonas is struggling a little bit to maintain the organizational system. So we're working out some kinks. Like I said, if you live with another human, then probably make sure you're both aligned on how the kitchen should be organized, but we'll get there. We're working it out. That's it from me. So thumbs up if you like this. Leave me some comments. Tell me how your progress is going. Tell me how you're feeling as usual. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to know about these videos. And I will talk to you all in the next one. Bye.